we romanticize the time when men could physically punish the women. Okay. Move beating and torture off the table, right? So we won't even open hand. She does. She didn't. She didn't do the dishes. Oh well, Venus. She more than likely gonna defend herself. Go ahead, Venus, because you gonna make your point for yourself.
Hey, so there is no we. I was talking about you, sir, because from what I can hear, you were the only person who introduced physical discipline or shaking somebody. I think you and the clout person. So it's not a paint a narrative about
Whoa,
the
I
men
didn't
up
bring
here.
nothing.
It was particularly about what you said out of your mouth, and that was it. There's no
Okay,
narrative.
so tell me, what did I say verbatim? Go.
I don't have verbatim, but you said something to the effect of you brought up the past about men being
You
able
heard
to.
physical violence and you were triggered. That's all.
I'm
You
sorry, who
heard
said?
you
Wait,
you
who? Wait,
heard.
wait, wait,
Okay, wait.
wait.
Clout. Let
Okay,
her say
Hold
what
on,
she
y'all.
need
Let's
to
make
say.
sure we do. Let's make sure we do one mic, y'all.
right. Like these are the people who can't even compose themselves in a conversation, but you're gonna compose yourself in a relationship, right? Okay, so like I was saying,
Lady.
no,
First
I
off,
didn't
you
come to
addressed
argue
me
with
Hold on,
you.
wrong.
hold
I
on, hold
So
didn't
on,
you're
come to
hold
clearly
on.
not.
argue with
You
you.
clearly can't compose
Clout,
yourself. You
I'm
can't
not
even put
clout,
my
arguing
name
with
right.
clout,
you.
clout. Let's just let them. Just let Venus say what she gonna say, and then let Kenny be rebuttal.
King talk, bro.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I heard. You said something about the past and being able to physically discipline women. And then I think when Marcus gave you a rebuttal, you said something about, well, shaking them. But either way, it was to like being physical with women. So either way, why was that being introduced into the conversation if you weren't trying to condone doing that?
Okay, so would you like me to answer that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did not condone it. I gave a critique of how men used to handle themselves back in the days and how the households were in line in order. I didn't give an agreement. I just gave a critique as for today and back then, the alpha male, how they conducted themselves. You chose to cherry pick what you wanted to hear within that conversation and then label me as an abuser of women or these type of men. But you didn't listen to not one part when I was speaking to AP and the other brothers and say, when Marcus said, the women that are toxic or unruly or those type of women, just walk away from them and pay attention to the younger ones. When I said you can't, because the social contract within me as a man, good, bad, or indifferent, is to put my life on the line for every woman within my community, because we have to be the shepherds of our community. Did you hear that
Okay.
part?
Okay. So I heard something to that effect, but I first of all, I never called you an abuser. I don't know why you said that. But
Did you
He
not
said
write
he
these
said that we
type
were
of
both the type
men?
of men.
Hold on. Did you not write these type of men are the one we're
yes,
talking about? And then when you
yes,
came up, you said me.
yes. Did I use the
So
word
own
abuser
it.
at
So
any point?
own what you
Did
said.
did I
Don't
use
backpedal now.
did I use the word abuser at any point? I just want to make sure because I know I didn't.
You said these type of men regarding that
Mhm.
statement. Please do not backpedal. As loud as you came up here roaring, trying to attack me and label me as a certain thing, you should be able to concede and say, maybe I did not hear all you had to say. And I
You're
just
not
cherry picked.
answering my
All right, so
question, sir.
I think a fair question would probably be when she typed that message. What exactly did she mean?
What exactly did you mean, Miss Venus?
What exactly did you mean when you
What?
said, you could shake a woman? What did you
Not a
mean?
question. I did not say that.
He didn't say
And
that.
see, you're a poor listener. I gave a comparative of how
Okay,
alpha
so
men. She not even trying to hear.
no, I heard you. I want to just ask, what was the intention behind that statement? Like, what would because you said I was just giving it a critique, but it had nothing to do with present day, right? So, what was your intention when you introduced that to the conversation?
My intention was to give a dynamic of how the hierarchy was back then when a woman claimed she wanted an alpha man. And I prefaced it earlier before I got into it to saying women do not want alpha men. They want beta men. And I said, if they want alpha men, they have to go back to those days when those type of men ran the household and they talked to you. they corrected you, then they put hands on you. And it's sad to say that those households did run better because there was a definite fear in the household.
Right.
Did
So you
I
don't
agree? What?
so you don't understand how when you make those statements you are condoning that behavior.
How am I
How?
condoning if I made a comparative? Did I say I agreed with it? Or I
Well,
just
when
gave a
you
He's
dynamic
saying that
of
that's what y'all as women don't want. He's saying that y'all don't
well
want those type of men. You
well
guys
when you
don't want authoritative men. You guys
when
prefer men that are non-authoritative.
when you say we have to admit those houses were ran better, you are condoning. You're saying this is the way. Do you understand that that's how that is?
no,
No,
that's
that's saying
how
those are different results. He's saying that
those
the
are
results
different
were different.
results.
It's not saying that one is a
I
preference
did
or one is
not
better. It's saying that they're
co-sign it.
better with different results.
But I guarantee you, if this is one thing, I guarantee you wouldn't be having as much sexy resin women wearing spandex, being out of place, being sexualized, over sexual in these streets if that dynamic took place. Yes or no?
Again, what would be the point in you saying that?
You're not even wanting to answer a question. You just want a mic so that you can freestyle.
Sir, I'm on
You just
topic. There is no freestyle. Like what are you talking about?
so what I just said right there lacked clarity.
Yeah, you lost me. I don't know. I don't know.
If I
All
if
right,
I
I
can
got
so
jump
I got
Kenny,
no
if
insight to
if
that.
I can jump in just real quick,
hold on.
just real okay.
All right, I'm gonna let AP jump in and let me just see what MJ have to say. Go ahead, AP.
So Kenny, and about what you said and how you said it, and I thought you were getting to a point, which is why I haven't said a word. It kind of implies that if we get back to that, then maybe we can restructure the way people are moving today. And I think that's the way the women heard it.
Stop right
But
there.
instead
Stop
of
right
give me
there.
one
Hold
second, give
on.
me one second. Let me finish. I let you speak. Just give me
I
a
can't
second.
let you go too far without prefacing me saying women do not want alpha men. They want beta men because alpha men of that day did XYZ. Please put that preface before you start saying that. That gave clarity as for where I went. I digress.
I don't think you were there yet. Is the point I was getting to? Because the back and forth you and Marcus was having was, in my opinion, a very healthy dialogue, and had I think Venus waited for that conversation to end, I think more clarity would have been shed on what you were trying to say. But just listening in, that what you said gives the implication. But again, just let the conversation flow the way it's going to flow so y'all can get to the end of it. But it does imply, regardless if we're talking about, if you preface it with they don't want those kind of alpha men, to suggest that the alpha men now are going to be any different. But y'all didn't get to the end of that. You and Marcus didn't get to the end of that conversation. But it does imply that, maybe if households would be run better if we could return to a sense of that.
Didn't say
Okay,
But
that.
again, I wanted that conversation that's why I love the conversation you and Marcus was
all right,
having, by the way.
hold on. I'm gonna step in for a second because we all receive information differently. And that's why it's important, if you want to understand something, then maybe you go directly to the person and you ask them to clarify what it is that they meant, so that we don't keep going around in circles. I think when Venus came up and she basically stated her piece, Kenny clarified that wasn't what he meant, and this is what I meant, and he gave context. Even when people give context, sometimes people still may not understand it, and then you might have to ask for additional context or a better understanding, or maybe somebody else can explain it better on the panel for that person to be able to receive it. So I don't, from what it sounds like, is that Kenny P is not saying that, and I don't think we're really gonna get nowhere with it by going back and forth.
It's no
But
way, shape, or form I was condoning that. I preface. Women do not want that alpha man. They prefer beta men. If they dealt with the alpha man of the past, these things were prevalent within those relationships. I did not say that that is something that I adhered to, that I put my stamp of approval to, but you took your time in those comments to automatically cherry pick what you wanted to hear and label me as one of those type of men.
And I do want to say this, and I do want to say this as well too, because like even with you saying that too, Kenny P, and it's just the way the world is and the way people are. There's still going to be some people that are going to hear what they want to hear, and they're going to take that as you saying that, and there's nothing you can do about it. If they want to reach you personally and say, "Hey, what did you mean?" then you can clarify. But for the people that's just listening, there are going to be some people even outside of Venus that may think the same thing as well. But now that you stated your piece, if people listen and they get past the a 2 hour and a 15-minute mark, then they will hear you clarify that that's not what you meant. So it is what it is at this point. Go ahead, MJ.
Hello, panel. Thank you for letting me on. I just want to say thank you, Kenny, for clarifying and me actually hearing that this is not something that you believe in, but this is something that you was dating back to what kind of worked and what you think those particular type of men is not what women today are trying to be involved with. I do wish that we would talk about other type of alpha males. I mean, because I had a grandfather, I had a great grandfather, and they were not those type of men that you're talking about who ruled with an iron fist, that there was a threat of being abused or being hit to be in line. They actually ruled their house in love, and they were revered by the women in that household. So there is other ways that we could do it, but I am in total agreement that used to happen a lot back in the days. And we can tell that that didn't work. That's why we had feminism. That's why we had second wave feminism. There is reports from back in the day of a lot of marital abuse, whether it's sexual, whether it's physical. These are things that were happening to women back then. And there was a reason why they had to speak out. So yes, those households look from the outside, the optics look like they were in control. But there was a lot of things that was happening psychologically in that household, not only with the women, but with the children too, because the children was also viewing and seeing those things happening, and they was picking up those traits and carrying on. And now we have generations of generations who believe talking to each other disrespectfully on both sides, cursing each other out, talking about each other's family members and stuff, stealing from each other, hiding from each other, abusing each other, any forms of emotional abuse. We are now carrying it along because we just thought, well, if it's in my household and I'm the ruler of my household, nobody gets to say so in my household, everything's okay. We want to step away from that. I think that we are all intelligent enough to know that there are certain things that we do not have to do in our relationship today to get the results that we want, right? And I believe men have value. So if you have value, if a woman is not going to align with your plan, instead of trying to force that woman, leave that woman and go with the woman that is with your plan. That is simple, very, very simple. But when you start to turn now to coerce a woman to follow your plan, then that means you don't even believe in your value yourself. You're contradicting your own self at that point. If you have what you have to offer, nobody can take that away from you. Isn't that what you say to us women? We need to know our value. Nobody should be able to take that away from you. So it has to go on both sides.